I was home alone, with nothing but the sound of rain hitting the windows to keep me company. My parents had gone out of town for the weekend, leaving me in charge of the house. I was only 11 years old, but I felt like a responsible adult being left alone for the first time. Being home alone was always exciting for me. I could watch TV as late as I wanted, eat all the snacks I desired, and even play video games until my eyes couldn't stay open anymore. But tonight was different. The storm outside made the house feel eerie, but I couldn't shake off the feeling of unease. I decided to distract myself by watching some TV. I snuggled up on the couch and turned my favorite show on. But as I tried to focus on the TV, I couldn't help but feel like I was being watched. I looked around the dark living room, but there was no one there. I told myself that it was just my imagination and continued watching my show. The TV suddenly went black, causing me to jump in shock. I thought it was just a power outage due to the storm, but when I looked at my phone, I saw that it was fully charged. I tried to turn on the TV back on, but it wouldn't budge. I started to feel a little panicked now. What if someone was in the house with me and they were messing with the TV? I tried to calm myself down and remember that the power was just be out. I decided to get a candle from the kitchen to give myself some light. As I walked towards the kitchen, I noticed that the floorboards were creaky. I froze in place, and my heart raced with fear. I told myself that it was just the old house settling and I was just overthinking things. I reached the kitchen and lit a candle. The faint's light flickered, casting shadows on the walls, making me feel even more on edge. I quickly grabbed a sack and went back to the living room, trying to convince myself that everything was fine. But then, I heard a loud bang coming from upstairs. My heart was pounding so hard, I thought I would burst out of my chest. I tried to convince myself that it was just a storm causing things to shift around upstairs, but then I heard footsteps walking down the stairs. The sound was slow and deliberate, and I couldn't believe what was happening. I was home alone, but someone was clearly in the house with me. I sat frozen on the couch, trying to figure out what to do. I didn't have any neighbors close enough to run for help, and I didn't want to leave the safety of the living room. But I knew I had to do something. I mustered up the courage to get up and quickly make my way towards the stairs, holding the candle in front of me like a shield. As I made my way to the staircase, I saw a dark figure at the top. I couldn't make up any features. It was just a shadow looming over me. I let out a scream and ran back to the living room, slamming the door closed behind me. I stood there, panting and shaking, trying to comprehend what was happening. But then I heard it. The doorknob to the living room was slowly turning, and the door opened with a creak. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was him, the man from the top of the stairs. He was wearing a dark hoodie and his face was hidden in the shadows. I was paralyzed with fear as he slowly made his way towards me. I was trapped with nowhere to go. I screamed for help, hoping someone would hear me and come to my rescue. But the man only laughed, a deep and sinister laugh that sent shivers down my spine. He towered over me, his cold hand reaching out to touch me. But before I could even react, the power suddenly came back on, and the room was filled with light. The man disappeared, and I was left standing there, alone and disorientated. I ran to the door, flung it open, and ran out of the storm. I didn't stop until I reached my neighbor's house. They called the police and they searched the entire house, but they found nothing. They told me it was probably just my imagination playing tricks on me, but I knew what I had seen. I was sure that it was just not my imagination. After that night, I refused to be alone in the house. I couldn't even set foot in the living room without feeling a sense of dread. My parents didn't understand why I was so scared and worried about being home alone, but I couldn't bring myself to tell them what had happened. Months went by, and the incident started to feel like a distant memory. But then the news came of a break-in and the murder that had occurred in a nearby town. The suspect was still at large, and I had to go on was a vague description of a man wearing a dark hoodie. My heart stopped as I realized that it could have been the same man that invaded my home that night. My worst fears were confirmed when the police finally caught the suspect, and his mugshot was all over the news. It was him, the same man I saw in my house that night. I still get chills thinking about that terrifying experience. It's a night I will never forget, and it taught me to always trust my instincts, and that danger can lurk in the most unexpected places. Now, I never feel completely at ease when I'm home alone, always aware that there might be someone watching me, someone waiting for the perfect opportunity to strike.